that I'm going to do for you guys. And so our first step will be to go out to the OPI website, and I'll show you where to get the TFS instructions. You may want to save a copy of this guidance document to your desktop for future reference as you proceed through the TFS. Okay, so I'm going to go out to the OPI website, and we'll go to leadership, school finance, accounting, and then here at the guidance and manuals, here are the TFS instructions down here. So it's pretty important, especially for the new people, to go ahead and read through these instructions. I'm just going to skip down here. Hopefully I don't make you guys sick. To section 2. Let's see, right here, it's on page 7. And before you can start completing the TFS, here's preparing to complete it. You should read the instructions, reconcile year-end cash balances with the county treasurer. So you just need to go through steps 1, 2, 3, and 4. And then you'll be here at step 5. This is where you start filling in the steps over in the Mayfair system, okay? So the first step actually in the Mayfair system is your pre-filled data verification checklist. And while I'm out here on the OPI website, I'm just going to show you where to get the information that you need for that. So we're going to back up here to leadership and school finance. And hopefully I'm not going too fast. Over here at budgets, you're going to want to get your 2020 budget report, okay? And these are by school name, and I guess it would be best if you could possibly save a copy of this to your desktop for future reference. And then, oh, this is going to take forever to load here at OPI. The other document from the OPI website that you're also going to need for your pre-filled data verification sheet is going to be your FY 2021 preliminary budget data sheets. Okay, as soon as this gets done scrolling here, I'll back up. So here's your budget reports. Maybe.
Are you talking? Can they hear you?
I'm assuming you guys can hear me. If not, would someone put it in the chat box and let me know?
Yeah, I can hear you. Yep, they can hear you.
Okay, good. All right. So here's your budget reports, and these are by school, okay? And then you'll also need your preliminary budget data sheets. And here again, here's your leadership, school finance, budgets, and then here's your FY 2021 preliminary budget data sheets. And these will show you your pre-filled amounts for this next year's budget. Okay, so if you can, you also should save a copy of this or print off a copy for you to have while you're going through the TFS. Okay. All right, so now we are going to go into Mayfairs, okay? And you guys might have a different way of going in there than I do. Here you can go, I believe you can go right here if you're still on the OPI website. I believe there's another spot out here. Here you go, application links, Mayfair system link, login. And I believe if you save that to your desktop as a favorite, you could just click on right there and then, you know what, I'm just gonna actually, I don't wanna go this way, but you guys can actually log in. You can see your login and your password information here, okay? So I'm logging into Mayfair's. Here I am, and I'm gonna put my name in there. And I guess it's my understanding that you guys, it's usually your first name, first initial, and your last name. Mine's a little bit different over here on this side. And there you go. I'm going to log in. If you forgot your password, you can just hit the forgot password, and I believe it has a place for you to stick your email in there, and you'll get a new password sent you right away. It's pretty quick. Okay. So here we are in Mayfair's. We'll want to go to the data entry on the toolbar here and just scroll down to this TFS and click over to the pre-filled data verification sheet. Okay, for my training, I am actually using Bainville School information. I need to thank Renee Rasmussen, the superintendent there at Bainville, for allowing me to use her information here. So I'm gonna click on Bainville School and hit print to PDF, and this is gonna bring up that pre-filled data verification sheet. And I'm going to open it. And so here it is. All right. So this is where then you verify the pre-fill amounts, your FY 2020 TFS amounts. And those come from the budget, the FY 2020 budget amounts off the sheets that you just got out of OPI website. And then you want to match these up. And then if you go down to the second page, okay, this is your 2021 budget report and your preliminary budget data sheets from the OPI website. Okay, we'll have these numbers should all match, and it's very important that you double check these and make sure that they're correct. So make sure you have all the right information to get started here. Okay. I'm going to back up here to the TFS part because that's what we're talking about right here. Okay. All right. So some of these, so for instance, the school major maintenance aid. Sure, no problem. Where did this come from? Okay. The school major maintenance aid, the small amount here, okay, just a little heads up on that. If you have an amount here in this revenue, this pre-filled amount is going to be different. And the reason why is it is actually the May payment plus a negative May adjustment that was made because not all the funding came in. And then we were able to get additional funding for this in June. And so you were given a little bit more money. And so that actually is the total of those three numbers there. And if you don't know what your actual school allowance originally was and you need to know that, you can email me and I have a copy of that for you. Okay, this the state special ed allowable cost payment to districts, just this school obviously doesn't have one, but you want to make sure to verify this amount to those other spreadsheets or your verification sheets before you start putting anything in Mayfair's, because once you start putting any numbers in Mayfair's, this number is going to change. Okay. Again, make sure you can match these numbers and that they're all correct. And OPI has tested, done a lot of testing on this, and we feel pretty confident that these should match what you have. Okay. So we'll go on to step 2. Maybe I don't kick myself out. Okay. So back to the TFS. We've done the pre-filled verification, data verification. Now we're going to go to step 2, which is budget amendments and transfers. And if I click on Bainville here, you're going to see that there's no budget amendments or transfers entered here. If I click over here, say, I think it, let me get to my school. If I click on Helena Elementary real quick, that's what it's going to look like. And these amounts are pre-filled by OPI. This will show if you have a budget amendment or transfer. If there's nothing in this step, then you don't have one. These are pre-filled by OPI after the paperwork is done, and types of budget amendments are unanticipated enrollment increases or unforeseen circumstances or examples. If you did have a budget amendment and you're not seeing it, it means that the paperwork did not get to OPI, and you will have to contact Nika at OPI if you think you should have a budget amendment in here. Okay. All right, so I'm going to go back to my Bainville school, and we're going to go to step 3 of the TFS and just keep clicking on down. Okay, these are all my schools. You probably should only see your school. And as you can see, Bainville School here has Black Mountain software. And if that is incorrect, I believe you can edit it from this screen. The only reason it would probably be wrong is if you change software vendors this last year. Okay. All right. Step 4. Please let me know if I'm going too fast. I'll slow down. All right, step 4 is your project reporter codes. And so I've got my Bainville school in here. So on this screen, you can show prior year programs, okay? And these are actually, these ones down here, you can see it says prior year. And then you can see that I have already, in my test file, I've already added some of them previous, just so you guys can see that these ones are current year, these were prior year. But you can take any of these prior years and roll them into the current year, okay? So I'm going to show you how to do that. So I'm going to, let's see, I'm going to show the prior years, and then I'm going to go down here and I'm going to click on one of these for you. Actually, I'm going to need it for my training. So I'm going to click on this 420 ASSA Title 1, and I'm going to copy it to the current year. So then up here, you're going to see it copied it up here. And here I'll want to save it. And then there it is right there now in my current year project reporter codes. Okay. I'll show you that again. I'm going to, here's the 636 one. I want to copy it to the current year. And just make sure when you do that, it shows up here, but you have to save it to get it to come into the current year project reporter code numbers. Okay. So that's how you do your project reporter codes. You have to do this step before you try to upload any of your expenditures or revenues. Okay. So I will go back here to the data entry, and we are to step 5, the balance sheet. Okay. And this is where I'm going to just go to the general fund to start off with here. And you can see this is already, well, I've already put some amounts in there for my training. This data will need to be input from your vendor software reports after you've balanced with your county treasurer. Okay. And any active fund that you have should have a cash balance. Okay, so you're always going to have this cash and investments if you have an open fund here. So I can show you. So when you click on the balance code, here are all of your choices of, I guess, what do you say? Balance account. I'm not really sure what to even call them, but here's your choices, and you can see I've already added the cash and investments, last year warrants payable here. Okay, And then you'll have taxes receivable from your county probably. And let's see, I probably better refer to my notes here. You'll have taxes receivable to add, and if you do, you'll also have deferred inflows, and those are down here. Okay. And if you have protested taxes, you'll need to add your taxes receivable and your protested taxes together for the total of that deferred inflows. So if I go back to my balance code up here, you can see here's your taxes receivable here. I guess I could add an amount in here. Okay, so if I put $100 in there, it's going to save it for me. Okay, but now this amount down here will be wrong. I'll need to update that to the $200, which is the total of the two. And again, make sure when you do this, you're going to have to save it. Okay, so here I am on the TFS. There's two ways to getting around in Mayfairs. I can either go back out to the data entry to this TFS and go to the next step, which would be revenues, okay? Or from this sheet right here, I can just go right out over here to the revenues and just click right there, and it doesn't take me in and out, okay? Okay, so we're at the revenues now. So this is where your pre-fills, you can see these pre-fills from your pre-filled data verification sheet are right here in the direct state aid and down from there. These other ones up here are just ones that I've added in my training that I've been working on. And you can see over here, if they're not calculated, you can change those amounts. So you just select on it, okay? And then I'll just decide I only want $9,000 there. I can change that amount and save it. Okay. So, and then that updated that. So these manual entries that you're making are, you're able to change these pre-filled data that are calculated from the Office of Public Instruction are not, okay? And here again, here's your note. If revenue code 3115, which is right here, your state special ed allowable cost payment to districts, okay? If it does not appear correct, enter all your special education expenditures for the general fund, tuition fund, your metal mine fund, state mining impact fund, and your impact aid fund, and the revenue will adjust upward, okay? And this is a special education reversion mechanism. And if the revenue amount is still lower than expected after the expenditures are entered, then check step 11, the review special education reversion, and that'll be later on, okay? Okay, so all right, so in my training, I am going to upload a revenue file, okay? And in this case, you should refer to the TFS expenditure revenue upload instructions that are on the OPI website. We can either go back out there again, they're under leadership, OPI website leadership, finance and accounting, and it's on the lower left-hand side. I guess we probably have time. I will go show you where those are at again. Just they're very important to read. So I'm going to take you back out there in case I'm going too fast and you missed it the first time. Okay, and under accounting, okay, and then they're actually over here under the Mayfair's link. So here is your TFS revenue expenditure upload instructions. And these actually were updated. You can see July 14th, okay? Because it didn't get renamed, but as you can, in this instructions, we also have added, sorry, I'm going a little fast. We added the ESSA LE per pupil reporting upload instructions that I believe are on in step 8 or 9 later on. So this will be your instructions. One thing I am seeing this year with people who have already uploaded their, are trying to upload their files, I guess we call it padding. Let me get here so you guys can maybe read this with me, sorry. So the LE number for a district, and you can kind of see this one, this is just an example, must be in 4 digits, okay? So LE 401 must be formatted to 0401, and to zero pad the column, you need to right click on it. Like you click up here on A, highlight it, then you would select format cells, and under the number and category, you need to select custom. And in the type field, you need to enter the number of zeros required for the formatting. And in this case, it would be the 4 zeros. So I'm right here in this column A, telling you that you need to do that, okay? And the school code, same thing. This one doesn't have school codes in it, but the same thing, the school codes have to have the 4 digits in there. And then the fiscal year, of course, would be FY 2020, okay? And the fund code, and here again, in this example, you can see it says 01, but it looks like in the uploads that we've been doing, getting, those have been just coming across as a 1. So there again, you need to format that column to 2 digits. And so to zero pad that column, you need to right click on the header, select format cells, and then select custom. And in the type field, you need to enter the 2 zeros in this case again, and click OK and save. You need to save that spreadsheet again. Okay. So if you're having trouble with your upload, just remember all those need to be padded correctly. And every time you try to upload and it doesn't upload, it says there's errors, it can't upload. When you go fix some errors and you try again, you have to pad it again. And this is just annoying, and I'm not really sure what we can do about it. But hopefully we can look at it for this next year, okay? So here's your instructions again. That's something that maybe you would want to download on your desktop just to refer to as you're doing the uploading of these, okay? So I'm going to get back out of here, and I'm back into Bainville, okay? And here is my revenues, and these, okay, so these are already pre-filled, so they won't be coming across from your export that you've gotten from your computer software company, okay? So what I'm going to do, I'm going to go out here and I'm going to browse for that file, okay? And here it is right here. Hopefully it's the correct one. And I'm going to open that, and it's going to come over here. And I'm going to import that. And it's thinking about it. Okay. And here, oh, this probably wasn't a good example. Here it imported. Here it will say file imported. Maybe when I get to my expenditures, that one will have my errors on it, so I can show you guys how to fix those errors. I apologize. I thought I had some errors sitting out here that would stop me from updating my revenues file here, okay? You know what I did here? Maybe this is why it uploaded and I didn't have a problem. Do you see when you, I'm sitting right here in this general fund. So what this is saying, I believe, is that the general fund was all correct. But I do know, I don't believe that my fund 61 was correct. So I'm gonna go look at 61 quick and see. And it did not import correctly there. So I'm gonna go back to, I'm going to go back there to the, sorry, the general fund. And if you want all of your files to, all of your funds to upload at the same time, okay, you don't want to have this general fund in there. You want that blank, okay? So I'm going to go out and find my file again and just see what happens here. I apologize for not getting this right the first time. I need to be following my notes. No, it's still going to work for me. Well, all right, we'll go on to expenditures then, and hopefully it'll be able to kick out some errors for me that I can show you how to fix, okay? So my revenues are uploaded. Oh, one thing I do have on these revenues in the general fund, if you don't, okay, so I've already uploaded these, but I can still manually add revenues to this. And one example of this would be the interest earnings, okay? And so you can see last year, whenever this last year's amount pops up like this, that's kind of like a little heads up. This is how much you had in interest earnings last year. This year, you know, you kind of know that it should be approximately the same amount. So this is just kind of a little reminder that says, hey, you had interest earnings last year, but this year you're saying you don't. So if I just put, say, like $8,000 in there, and then I save it, okay, so here it is then. It's right down here. And just so you know, I do know in the general fund, transportation fund, a couple more, you must have interest earnings, otherwise you will get a validation, a TFS validation after you get through all the steps. When you go to your validations, that will be one validation that you will get. So make sure you get your interest earnings in the funds that require it, okay? It's kind of hard. I'm just doing all the talking and nobody's talking back to me, but hopefully it's going okay. All right, so we're going to go now to the expenditures. Again, you can go to the expenditures right from there, or if you want to go back out and go to step 7 here, you can also do it that way, okay? So again, you'll want to refer to the TFS expenditure revenue upload instructions, or they're exactly the same as they were for the revenue. So I think you're good to go. So again, I'm going to actually, this time I'm going to take this general fund out, and because I want to upload all my expenditures for all of my funds at the same time. Okay. I'm going to go out and I'm going to go look for my expenditure file. And here it is. And I'm going to import that. Okay, so this one here, it said, the import file has the following errors and must be corrected before any data can be imported, okay? So here, one file contains my Fund 61, you know, your Building Reserve Fund 61. I'll go out there, then I'll go look at it. Well, just so you guys know, you must have a sub-fund here. So that's what it's telling me. It's saying that somewhere in my upload, I did not have a sub-fund listed, and I need to go back and fix that. So what I'll do then, I'll go out to my my file. I can find it. Okay, and this is what, you know, this is what it's going to look like. All right. And these are just bogus numbers. This is just a test file. So what I'm going to do, oh, I wish I could have left that up there for you guys. I'm going to go back. I'm going to go back out here so I can actually see my, okay. Just lost myself. Got too many screens open here. right, so I lost my errors here somewhere. So we'll try this again. Sorry about that. I'm going to go back and get this file, put back in here. I'm going to import it again. Okay, so here I am. Back to my errors. I apologize. So here's my one record with the subfund 61, or the fund code 61, no subfund. And then I have a record with fund 61 as a fund code and nothing as the subfund code, okay? Program code 1XX, function 1000, object code. This is not a valid expenditure account, okay? And then my third was my fund 15 is missing a project reporter code. So when I went to step 4 and added my project reporter codes, either I didn't add the correct one, or in my fund 15, I don't have a project reporter code attached to that record. Okay, so what I'll do, I'll go out to my Excel spreadsheet and I will fix those errors. Okay. So as you can see, this school only has the 3 digits for the school code. So I'll have to pad that. And how you do that, I'm going to right click on it. I'm going to format the cells. I'll go down to custom, and here where it says type, where it says general, that's where I'm going to want to put those 4 zeros in there and hit OK. And there you're going to see that. Okay. And then again, here's your fund 1. So here I'm repadding this again, getting ready to upload it again. And of course I need 2 zeros in there, and that will fix that. But this still hasn't fixed my errors. So I need to go find my errors in my spreadsheet and fix those. Okay. So I have to remember how to do that. So I need to go down to fund 15 where I didn't have a project reporter code. Okay. And here it is right here. You can see this line item. Here's 15, 1XX, 23XX, 810. And then in Fund 15, I'm required to have that project reporter code. So I know that it's a 636 project reporter code there. Okay. And then I need to go down to Fund 61. And I did not have that sub-fund. And you can see right here, I have an expenditure. This line item 61, 1XX, 1000, 1XX, 5XX for this amount. There's no project or no sub-fund here. So I need to add that sub-fund in there. So there's my sub-fund 612. So now it looks like the other ones. And let's see, hopefully that will be, it seems like there was 3. Those are only 2 I can remember. So I'm just going to save this file again. Okay. I'm going to get out the file. I'm going to go back. I'm going to find that file. And I'm going to try to upload it again and see if I can get rid of those errors. Okay, and there I got rid of my error. So here it says my file imported, and then select fund to view expenditures. So now you can see if I go to my general fund, here's expenditures. They all uploaded right into my expenditures here in my general fund. And then you know that I have a fund 15, and there they are. So they uploaded there. I mean, you assume they're in there, but just because I use these funds already, I'll just show you that this is what it looks like when they upload into those funds. Okay. So say, well, that's not a good example. I'm going to go back to the general fund here. Okay. So In the general fund, you can see that these all uploaded, but if you find that you need to add more expenditures in the general fund that weren't previously added, you can go ahead and this will bring up a program code. You can enter a program code. Function code, and here's your object code. And as you can see right here, last year's amount for this expenditure was $675,000. So I'm just going to round that to an even $700,000 and save that. And there you go. And it just added to what was already there. Okay. But anytime you, if you were to go back in and try to export anything again, it's going to override everything that's down here, and you would have to do that again. So hopefully that won't be a problem for you. Okay. So now we are to step 8. And here I believe step 8, I don't have to go back out. I can go right here to my detailed expenditure fund. You can see the fund code. It doesn't have a fund code. It's just grabbing from all funds. Okay. This is where you'll manually enter detailed expenditures for all funds on the same screen. And if I was to go to the print detail expenditure report, this will show me what expenditures I had last year. And I think your software vendors may prepare this report for you. And you would just manually go in and input the program codes and function code and object code. So I'm going to open what was here last year. This is new screen. Okay, so this is what your detailed expenditure report looks like. And you can see I haven't input anything in there, but your 2019 values, you can kind of see what was in there last year, and that's kind of good to know. So you know what numbers you're looking for this year. Okay, on this report, these are the expenditures that we're looking for. And so you can, if your software vendor does not do a detailed expenditure report for you, and you manually have to do it, these, you can do a query. Hopefully you'll be able to do a query within your, whatever software you have to figure out what amounts you have here that you use that you need to report. Okay. So this shows the amounts that were entered last year. And I think Foxy Lady might call it a, or CNC might call it a user-defined report. Okay. So I'm going to get out of this report and show you. All right. So here is where you manually import those. Okay. So you'd need a program code and a function code and an object code, right? So here you want to make sure that when you go in and put in all your salaries, okay, so here's all programs, all instruction, all certified teaching salaries. You can see it gives you the total from last year, so you can kind of, you know, guess at that. It should be close to that. And this is a new, this little box here is new this year, and basically it's just reminding you that if last year's amount does not seem accurate, check the amounts with and without a school code selected and click print expenditure report for additional information. It just happens that Bainville does not report by school code, so they don't have that issue right here on this screen. But say if you were another school that had multiple school codes, you could go in and add them by school code. Okay, so I'm going to save this amount. So here's my 800,000. What you want to make sure is, so you can, your special ed instruction, and here's your certified special ed salaries, and last year here's this 22,000. You just want to make sure that this 22,000 is not included in your all program, all function coding for your certified salaries. Okay. So just make sure that your special ed instructor is not already included within this $800,000. Okay. I'm just going to put a number in here. And again, this applies to your CTE, sometimes detail expenditure report only, see that? And here your CTE instructor could possibly have salaries in there. In this case, Bainville did not have a CTE teacher listed in this detailed expenditures, okay? Let me see what I missed. So after you get your numbers in there, I'm just gonna go put another number in here just for the heck of it. So another code that's possibly out there. So here's your all programs again. Say your janitor, janitor had some expenditures. Well, not your janitor. Here's your plant services. So here's your energy utility services. You know, your heating bill for your school. Here you can see there was $99,000 in there. So we'll just put a number in there. And so you just want to make sure and go through these. And if you have expenditures, you want to make sure and add them in your detailed expenditures. So here we can go back to that detailed expenditure report, and then you'll be able to see the these expenditures down below that I added. That's thinking. I'm going to open that up. And there you can see now the 2020 values, and kind of, you know, then that way it's a good check for you to see what you had last year compared to this year, and you kind of know what you're looking for. This line item here would be your all functions, all programs, instruction, and it's looking for purchases of textbooks and other printed materials here. So last year there was 9,000. So I would assume that this year they probably, Bainville will have some numbers put in there on their side. Okay. Another specific one that they ask for is down here is your periodicals. Okay. All functions, instructions, and your periodicals. And so we'll want to add a number in there. And I don't know why I have this little toolbar down here. Let's see if I can get rid of it. Okay, there it's gone now. Okay. All right, so there's your detailed expenditures. Now we'll go to step 9. So again, detailed expenditures here, and then the next step is your ESSA, LE per pupil reporting. And this is a new screen. Well, it might, I believe it could have been there last year. At CJI, as a business manager last year, I did not code I did not use this particular reporting. I believe it just separated out my expenditures per my enrollment. So this is not my area of expertise here. Hopefully I can explain it to you. It may not be complete. And if you can refer to the ESSA guidance document as much as you can for more information, that would be great. If you do have questions regarding this step, if you contact Nicole Thuat here at the Office of Public Instruction, she's the ESSA specialist here at OPI now, and she's given me permission to share her cell phone number with you. If anybody wants to write this down, here it is. Okay, so Nicole Thuat, her cell phone number is 202-1759. Okay. So I'm gonna hopefully stumble through this ESSA reporting for you, okay? I am going to take you back out to the, well, actually I'm not. I will just, on my desktop here, I actually have the ESSA guidance document available so you can see what it looks like. And here it is. And again, it's out on the OPI website under the leadership, school finance, And then I believe it's in the, actually, you go down lower on the left-hand side and you'll see the ESSA guidance document, July 2020. So this has been updated recently for this new FY20 school year, okay? So the first step with this, if you don't know if you should be reporting by school code or not, here is a list of all the, of schools that are, that are required to do it by this. You can see Bozeman High School is new for FY 2021, as is Huntley Project, Dillon. So these schools were missed originally, I believe, and now they are, have gotten added. So if your school's on here, you're pretty much stuck doing this. But OPI believes that all schools, well, exclusive of K-12 schools where there's just one building, we believe that all schools are eventually going to have to go to this reporting. So please start coding by school code as soon as you can. If your district has more than one location of your schools and more than one budget unit, okay? So anyway, so that's the schools that we have listed so far. We have a work group that's worked on this program, this manual, I guess, and we're still a work in progress, I believe. Kara was in charge of the ESSER stuff previously, and so she kind of set up the work group, and I think we'll probably be meeting again here in the near future, hopefully. So just go through here. Gives you a lot of good information. So when you have extra time, make sure and go through here. And this also shows that's just this. So it's now showing that starting in FY 2020, Transportation Fund is now going to be required to be included in your ESSA per pupil reporting by school, okay? So this is just kind of a guide that yes, the general fund is, yes, the transportation fund. Here's your bus depreciation. Starting in FY20, the food fund, food service fund has been added, okay? Tuition fund, retirement, miscellaneous, yes. And then of course you got your project reporter code, and additional reporting may be required here in Fund 15. Your adult ed, no, is not included in the ESSA, and no, the traffic ed. So you can look at this and see which funds you do have to report by school code and which ones you do not, okay? So I'll just, here's your lease rental, yes. So you guys can see these. I won't go through them all. Just kind of give you a little heads up as we're just kind of scrolling through here. These fiduciary propriety funds, I guess they're called now, those are all no. If you have any of those kind of funds, those are still no. Down here, here's your interlocal agreement. Fund 82, this is a yes. This is new. Well, I don't think it's probably not new, but it has to do with the whole reporting of the Fund 12, 15, and 82 section of the Mayfairs, okay? Your student extracurricular activities fund is still a no here. I don't know if that'll get changed at some point. And then these are your clearing funds. Those are a no, okay? So here it breaks it down by pupil or program code. So it's saying yes, your regular education, yes it is. Your summer school is a no. And then again, in red, you'll see changes that have been made for the FY 2020. Here's the new transformational learning grant. Yes, it does. Yes, it will be. It is. This says no, but it is for 2021. So we are going into FY 2021. So this will be updated and will be required for 2021. I don't believe anybody received any Montana Advanced Opportunity Aid for 20. I believe this is all new for actually, you know what this is saying, that no, this one is not going to need to be reported. And this is actually in Fund 29. So it's possible that that one will not be required. So that might have been wrong on my part. So just get familiar with this manual as far as the ESSA stuff goes. Okay. I'm going to get out of there and I'm going to go back to the ESSA LE per pupil reporting screen. All right, so my example of Bainville, they do not have to report by school code because they're K-12 and evidently they're all in one building. So this is where I'm going to, I got permission, thankfully, from Lacey Lollam from CGI School. She's a new business manager there. She gave me permission to use the CGI information here. CGI does have multiple schools. The elementary has their elementary, their middle school, and then CGI has 2 elementary schools. And then the high school just, of course, just is the high school. But so they are required to report by school code. And for training purposes right here, I'm going to stick to the CGI school information while I talk about this, okay? So if I go to the, I'm actually going to skip up to the high school because I know CGI school, high school has the school food service fund 12. The elementary doesn't have a food fund everything is run through the high school food fund, okay? And let's see. So what this is saying is that here's CGI High School and they have a food service fund and they want to allocate some of their expenses to the other schools, the elementary, middle school, or the colony schools here. They want to show that the expenditures should have been, they pay those expenditures on behalf of the other schools, okay? So right here, okay, so I don't have access to a file for CGI to actually import this. So I am manually entering these on this screen. But if you are going to import by the LE for this reporting page and your software vendor has created an Excel spreadsheet for you to do this, again, refer to the instructions on the website that are with the TF or with the revenue and expenditure uploads. Okay, they're basically the same. So you can refer to those when trying to import that file. Okay, so what I'm going to do here is show you that CGI High School, their school food service fund. Okay, so they're going to want to assign some of their expenditures to CGI Elementary. Okay, and then here it is. Then this is where I have the drop down for the 4 schools that belong to this LE 1236. Okay, and then, but then here are the school codes, right? So I am going to look for one I haven't used yet. So I'm going to go to Cool Springs Colony and I am going to, let's see, go into the food services. 31XX is food services. And I'm going to pay part of the salaries that were allocated to the high school. I'm going to say that part of the food service salaries should have been coded to the elementary school. Okay. And then here you will see the different, here's the LE that was signed. So here's the high school and it's assigning the elementary school code here, which was, let's see, I'm gonna have to, one of the schools, sorry, I think the middle school, I'm gonna give $10,000 to them as an expenditure. Here's the, so this might be the elementary, here's the middle school, and then here's one of the colonies. And so I want to take $12,000 of food service expenditures away from the high school. Okay, so this is where I'm going to do this at. Okay, so a lot of schools, so and then of course Fund 15 is included here. Okay, and I know at CJI in the miscellaneous fund, I'm going to use the Title I money as an example. So I'm actually going to go. I know that in e-grants, okay, the Title I allocation in e-grants is for one school. Okay, so I know at CGI it's in the elementary school, but they don't want to show all the expenditures for that. So they want to make sure and allocate some expenditures to the high school if there were any high school students that benefited from the Title I money. Okay, so here I am at the elementary, and I'm going to assign the school code. So I'm going to assign to the high school. Okay, and you can see here that the high school only has, it's by itself. There's only one school listed under the high school. Okay. I'm going to need a project reporter code here in Fund 15, and that would be my title money. And I'm going to go into that title program code and the function and instruction. And then I want to, I was going to do salaries, but you can see I've already allocated salaries down here. See that? This 1XX, and I can't use it again. Once you go through the steps and use all your options here, you can't use it. It stops you from duplicating that expenditure. Okay, if I had a wrong amount here, I could select it and I could go back and change that amount if I needed to. Okay, but I can't use that expenditure again. So I shouldn't have clicked out of there. I'm going to go back in to my high school. I'm going to find my Title I again. I'm going to program code for the title money. Instructions, and usually when you have instruction, you're going to have benefits. So I'm just going to stick an amount in here for the benefits, just so you guys can see how that works. Okay. So what that's saying is that the elementary is allocating expenditures to the high school for the Title I funds. Okay. An example of Fund 82 is if you have an interlocal agreement. Okay, this is where, so if you have a high school and elementary in the same school district and you have a multi-district agreement with each other, and both schools are contributing to your multi-district or your interlocal agreement fund, I should call it. One school is the prime school, and they make the expenditures on behalf of both the schools. And so here, an example would be possibly the prime would pay the heat bill, the heating bill, say on behalf of the whole school district, but they don't want to take the expenditure, so they want to give some of that expenditure back to the elementary school. Okay, so here the elementary, I know at CJI the prime, so you'd want to have the prime up here, and then the prime would allocate to the participating other school, and it could be more than one school. And then you have to, in this case, if it was the heat bill and I wanted to separate it out between the junior high and the high school, obviously it wouldn't probably be the Colony school since they're at different schools, right? And I only have a multi-district agreement with CGI Elementary School and middle school here. So I'm just gonna pick the middle school here, and just go ahead with my coding with that. And it would be, supplies here, and just, and just add that there. Okay. So that's how that all works as far as this ESSA per pupil expenditure reporting screen, and sharing the expenditures by school codes here. Like I said, if you have questions on this, please call Nicole. This is all pretty new to me, and I think I know just enough to be dangerous for you guys. So if you have questions, please call Nicole. And again, her cell number is 202-1759. Okay. All right. Let me get back to my notes here. All right. So now that is, what step was that? That was your step 9. Step 10, now I'm going to go to your fixed assets, okay? So the first step is to click on the activity type when you're putting in your fixed assets. And you have 2 choices. You have your business or governmental. And the business refers to generally Fund 70 to 79. Most often this is going to be governmental, okay? So I'm going to click on governmental, and here it's going to populate fixed assets from the previous year, okay? So in order, and if you purchase something or need to add to your fixed assets, this is where you would add a new record to add to this list of fixed assets, okay? So say you wanted to add something to maybe you bought some more land, okay? So here we're gonna select this land, okay? And it automatically defaults to the adjustment box here. The only time you want to use that adjustment box is if, say, you and your auditor, for some reason, this beginning balance was wrong, and maybe your auditor caught it, or you're just trying to get things straightened out from previous years that didn't quite have the right value on there. In that adjustment box, that's where you would fix this beginning balance, okay? But if you want to add land, okay, to this, if you're going to make an addition, say you purchase some more land around Bainville. Oh, I'm still in CJ. I'm sorry, I need to switch over, but you would want to add it here in additions, okay? Or if you sold land, you would want to take it out and put it in removals. Okay, I'm going to take this out just to show you, but to remove something, I don't believe you don't put a negative number in there, okay? So then now here you're going to see $10,000 removed, and here your beginning balance minus your 10,000, okay, is going to show your ending balance. Okay, do you see that there? All right. So that's how your fixed assets reporting works. I'm going to jump back to Bainville. I'm not supposed to be in CGI anymore. All right. Let me go back and see if I missed anything. Okay. So on your fixed assets, if you had depreciation, okay, let's see, you can add a, if you need to add a new depreciation record here, here's your options here. I'm going to say, I'm just going to confuse myself here. Well, maybe I won't say anything and I won't confuse you guys too. So anyhow, if there's something that you need to depreciate and you didn't know what the original function code was, here there is an option down here that says unallocated, okay? And I believe you can, let's see. Let me go back out here. I apologize. Well, this one is saying that I don't have, there are no fixed asset depreciations records. So here, if I add one, I'm going to just do unallocated because I'm not sure what I'm doing here. And I'm going to just put $10,000 in here and save it. And here is unallocated depreciation here. Okay. Oh, I hope I didn't screw you guys up, mess you guys up on that one. All right. I'm not seeing where it shows that at. All right, so I better get out of here before I get myself in trouble. All right, next step would be your long-term liabilities. And when you hit governmental, these will default in there from the previous year, okay? Districts with a financial review once every 4 years are not required to report this information, the long-term liability information on the TFS, but are still required to maintain a listing of the long-term liabilities and make it available to the auditor, okay? And long-term liabilities most often include capital leases, your compensated absences, SIDs, other long-term loans payable. Those are most often going to be your intercap loans. Other post-employment benefits, shortened, it's the OPEB. That's what they're referred to. And then your net pension liabilities. And here's you can see Bainville has compensated compensated absences, excuse me. And then here's their PRS and TRS numbers. Okay. Again, in the compensated absences, when you go to update that, you've already done your compensated absences worksheet, and you can find a copy of that spreadsheet to figure it all out on the OPI website. Okay, so if you select this, again, it's going to default to that adjustment screen. And unless this beginning balance was incorrect from last year, you want to make sure and go down to either your additions to add more liability or reduction to subtract if this number should be less, okay? And then you would save anything that any changes there. But just so you know, that adjustment is just to adjust the beginning balance, okay? So the net pension liabilities, so the previous year's balance, the ending balance will come over from last year, okay? And so you need to get these new balances from PERS and TRS, okay? And then you'll select them separately to adjust them and make a change, and you'll want to change those according to your GASB statements that you either have or will receive from PERS, Ampera, or TRS. And I did receive an email from Ampera, from Diane there, that the PERS data has been posted to Ampera's website as of Monday on July 21st. So you can go on the Ampera website and find your school and click on it and find your report for your school. And then you'll be able to come in and adjust this, not adjust, either add or reduce the amount per the PRS GASB statement that you've received, okay? And then again, that's the same thing for TRS. You do the same thing, okay? I did talk to Nolan at TRS, and he thought that their information would be out by the last week in July or August 3rd at the latest. So you can go look for that then. I'm assuming that as PRS did, that TRS will also send you guys an email and let you know that their reports are out there. I know Steve Hamill helped me with the TRS reporting. The number that you'll be looking for would be the net pension liability amount, and it would be the employer's proportionate share associated with TRS, okay? So that one, I guess, is a little easier to find in the reports than maybe the PERS one. I don't know where to look on the PRS GASB sheets to find the answer. So maybe if one of you finds it on your PRS, and you can let other new clerks know which number they're looking for out there, that would be helpful, I'm sure. Okay. So this that concludes our long-term liabilities. I'm going to go back out this way. I don't see the special education reversion step 12 on this sheet, so you have to go back out to the data entry screen to get it. Okay. So the special ed reversion, state law requires districts to match 25% of the total program. And so this report calculates the amount of special education reversion required based on the calculation of program code 280 expenditure to the state paid special education revenues. And that's your general fund, and that's that revenue 3115 that could possibly be off until you get all of your expenditures in, and then that should that amount, your final amount should match what's on that pre-filled data sheet. So let me go. So I'm going to grab Bainville's here just so you guys can look at it. I'm going to click on my school. You can see over here, it's just the only box checked is the special education reversion box. Okay. And I'll bring that up for you. And of course, this one is not going to be correct because well, it possibly might, I might surprise myself. All right, so here would be Bainville's. This is what it'll look like, their special ed reversion. Okay, so this is saying that they got a block grant entitlement. Okay, and then their related services block grant entitlement, which was paid to the co-op directly, was $8,000. This $8,000 amount. And so the grand total allowable special education expenditures, well, actually, so then the minimum special ed expenditures to avoid reversion then would be this $35,785. Okay, so they have to spend their block grant, and then they have this related services grant. So they have to spend at least $35,785. But you can see that the grand total expenditures that they have input is this $102,373.18. Okay, and line G, the special ed reversion amount down here says 0. It says if F equals 0, then C equals reversion else, and here's a little formula for it. But what it's saying was they needed to spend $35,000, but they spent 102, so there will be no special ed reversion here. Okay, and then again, you want to note if the amount on line G is greater than 0, revenue source code 315, special ed allowable cost payment to districts in the general fund will be reduced automatically. Kind of have that little note out there so everybody remembers that amount, there's certain steps you have to take for these amounts to add up. Okay, so you want to just make sure you read these notes that we have out there for you. Again, the deferred inflow entry for the reverted amount in the general fund will need to be removed in the next fiscal year. And it gives you the coding for the local and state special ed resource transfer to the co-op. It gives you the coding for that, so everybody has the same coding. Okay. Here is the sheet that shows the expenditures that were input. So in Fund 1, here's our special ed salaries and benefits here. In Fund 13, they also had salaries and benefits. They had some 5XX objects, 6XX. Okay, so then as you scroll down here, this item is showing you what the totals of these columns are. Okay, and then that's where that 102,373 came out. If you scroll back up to the first page, so this, see the attached worksheet. Okay, and so this amount, you'll be able to go and look and see where your coding was for your special ed. Okay, so that's your special ed reversion. Okay, so I'm going to get out of here again. All right, and I'm going to go back to this step 13, the special ed cost calculator. And I'm going to click on Bainville, and I'm going to print it to PDF. I'm just going to open it. And what this special ed cost calculator, You need to review this report to verify the appropriate calculations to determine the minimum amount a school district must spend for education of students with disabilities before it may use funds under Part B of the Individuals with Disability Education Act, and that's the IDEA money, okay? So here's the special education excess cost calculator for 2020. And this report must be reviewed each year to verify the appropriate calculations, okay, to determine the minimum amount a school district must spend on elementary and secondary levels for education of students with disabilities before it may use funds under the Part B of the Individuals with Disability Education Act. We shorten it up to IDEA, okay? So this, here's Bainville, their elementary ratio, high school, and then here it goes along and these numbers all calculate in for you from the data that you have put in, okay? And then here, the total minimum amount of funds the LE must spend for the education of students with disabilities in the district school before using Part B funds, okay? So here's your amounts. And this report is produced by the OPI Special Education Department. This isn't a school finance. This isn't one of our reports here in school finance. So if you have questions, please contact Jennifer Klein at OPI, and this is her numbers at the bottom of the form. Okay. All right. So we're just cruising right on through here. This is good. Hopefully there's not too many questions out there. Paul's rule is busy doing other stuff today, so he's kind of checking the chat box as he can. All right. So this next step is your certification of facility condition inventory report. So there's a school major maintenance aid account in the state special revenue fund, and the purpose of the account was to provide for school major maintenance aid for school facility projects. And the first repairs on this report were for safety and damage wear out in the K-12 public schools facility condition report. I guess someone came along back in 2005 or 2008 or something and looked at everything at your school and determined what things needed to be fixed. And it took quite a while to get this data out there. And then when it finally did, then the state is offering money to schools to get these repairs made, okay? And so on this certification, you need to read this section of law, or it says what this section of law is saying, that it requires districts to update that original facility condition inventory report prepared by the Montana Department of Administration, and it gives you some more law stuff there in December 2005. So you need to update it and certify by July 1st of 2019. So you all should have done that last year, but this screen is asking you to update it every 5 years, okay? So this screen here is saying that the FCI, the Facility Conditions Inventory Report, was updated this fiscal year, okay? And if you click on that one, it's gonna ask you the date that you updated that in this year, okay? If you click the second box that is saying that it has not been updated this fiscal year, but what it is saying, subsequent updates must be certified to the Office of Public Instruction no less than every 5 years following the first certification, okay? And then this information, whichever box you check here, will show up on the cover sheet of your trustees financial when you get through all this process. And you, let's see if I can get back out there for you. Well, I can't get to it from here, but it will be on your TFS cover sheet when you're done with the trustees financial. It'll say if you did this year or if you didn't. That's basically all the information that will show up on that cover sheet, okay? All right, so you got step 14 done. So now we're gonna go to the TFS validations, okay? This will prompt a new screen here, and what you'll have to do usually it's defaulted, select the validations to include in the report. And and you really should click on all validations, okay? It's defaulted to the all validations. The corrective validations must be, if you do the corrective validations only, they have to be fixed before you could submit, okay? So, but it's best to do all validations and look at all of them. I hate to bring up Bainville's just for the fact that it's going to be just a huge mess. I'll show it to you, but I actually haven't completed the whole process of trying to submit this school. So I'm going to have a lot of validations on here. But I'll show you what it looks like. Don't let it overwhelm you. You just have to take them line by line and just fix them and as you can as you go along and until they're gone. Hopefully there won't be that many. Okay, let's see. So if I was to try to say I was done here and submit this, you're going to see all these validations here. All right, that's a lot. So I have a lot of fixing to do in Bainville if I was actually going to try to submit this. Okay, so the warnings, these warning messages provide an alert of possible errors, and you need to read these and determine if the input was correct. Okay, so this one is saying that my in my Fund 61, my expenditures for the original budget, and this was my original budget, are greater than the original budget amount. So this is saying I've uploaded more expenditures in Fund 61 than my original budget allowed. Okay, so I need to go check my expenditures in Fund 61 and get those corrected. Okay, this is saying, this is warning the no net pension liability record for PRS has been entered in the long-term liability section. Disregard if you don't have PRS. And then this is just another warning to make sure that you've checked your TRS information. So these black warnings will let you submit. Even they'll let you submit, but OPI is asking, and we're hoping that you will actually clear these warnings out of there also, because they might be an audit finding later on. It could affect your data. So we're asking that you clean these up before you submit, okay? So like for example, this is your Fund 12, and you know, I was messing with CGI. I wasn't in Bainville, so it's saying that I didn't allocate expenditures per the ESSA reporting, okay?
I think we're fine.
And that's 12, and Fund 15, and then it's saying the expenditure detail report, I didn't put any amount in for textbooks, and that's just kind of a warning, because like last year, remember, I had $9,000 in there or something, and this year I didn't put anything in. So this just kind of giving you a little warning that maybe you need to complete this item and other teacher salaries as appropriate. And then this warning is saying on that no detailed expenditures have been coded with the technology object codes. All of these 355, 455, you know, these are all technology object codes that are new in the last couple years. And just a little heads up, and I think I said this somewhere before in the chart of accounts also, for the technology code 645, which was for your ebooks, maybe your Kindles or your iPads, that was separate in object code 645. We at OPI have rolled that into this 682 minor supplies. Okay, so that's where that 645 went. It's now into 682, and then they just roll up into the 6XX. So we didn't think we needed two object codes in the 600s for minor technology supplies. So that's just a little extra information for you. Yeah, so I will just we'll just have to go through, and it has your fund number, Fund 1. It's saying my balance sheet amount does not equal my revenues, expenditures, and changes in the fund balance, and it gives you the difference. And so I'll need to go fix my balance sheet to match up with my revenues and expenditures, and you know, any other money that might be out there that I need to include in my balance sheet. Okay. All right, so you've got your warnings, everything's taken care of. On a side note, let's see, I'm going to back up here. So I guess I'm to step 15, which means I'm almost done here. Or step 16, I guess I should say, is saying that here's your submit button. Okay, let me get here. So you'll want to, let's see if I can go back here. You want to look at your TFS when you think you're done with it and the cover sheet. And you'll want to make sure, I can't see it here, sorry. You want to make sure that if you're a new business manager or clerk, that your name is on the pre-filled TFS and budget cover pages, okay? I think, you know, there was a lot of change, there has been changes in the business managers, and you don't want to just cross out the name that's on there. So you need to look at those. If your name's not on there correctly, you can go on the OPI website again under leadership, management and operations. Montana School Directory. Oh, if you want me to show you where it's at, I can. Let's see, we'll go back up to the OPI website, maybe. All right, we're gonna go back to the Office of Public Instruction, leadership, management and operation on the Montana School Directory. See that? And you want to update that directory, okay? So if you go down to these instructions here you go, it will tell you how to do that, because you'll have to get in to the OPI contacts, and you'll have to change the information. And here it tells you CIS school contact data for, you know, the board chairman. Your board chairmans may have changed back in May. You need to get them in there for their correct name on there, the clerk and the business manager, and then again the superintendent. So I guess this probably does affect a lot of you who have had changes. Okay, so this just goes through on how to change it. Oh, okay. So here you go with system contact updates. All right, and just go through there and get your information changed. Let's see, I'm getting a note here. I don't, Steve Hamill needs to unmute himself so that he can tell me what he's trying to get me to do here. Steve, will you unmute yourself and talk, please, so I can show them what you want me to? Or not? Hello, Steve. Can we unmute Steve Hamill? You can find him.
I see it.
Okay,
There it
I'm
is.
sorry.
There you are.
You were wanting to show the cover page?
Yeah.
Go to the reports tab. It's right just to the right of the data entry tab on Mayfair's.
The reports tab?
Yeah, right there. And go down to the TFS.
Oh.
TFS. And there's where you can unselect all of them if you just want to see your cover page to see how. So unselect all sections.
Right. Okay. Oh.
There's a button that'll unselect them all, and then you can just select whatever you want.
Well, see, look how smart you are. Okay, so did you see what Steve was telling me to do? Just unselect them all if you just want to see the cover page. So I'm gonna go to the current report. I'm sure Bainville has the same one. You know, if Lacey doesn't mind, I'm just gonna click on CGI Elementary and just see if that one has been updated. Just so you guys can see what might be going on here. And then we can get that fixed. kind of handy of having Steve Hamill here at OPI. He knows all this stuff. All right.
Ah, shucks.
Ah, shucks. What? There it is. All right. So this, you can see where, here's the CGI from last year, and my name is still on there. Okay. And then I do know that Brad Camerzell is no longer the board chair. So this is just a good place to, to get this changed once and for all. You don't really think about it when you're doing the switch until it comes down to actually doing these reports into Mayfairs. And so this is a good place to see that you have things that you need to fix here. So again, on this is a good place just to go. It kind of gives you dates on when things need to be taken care of. The Board of Trustees transmits to the county superintendent, was all that stuff. No later than August 15th for the budget. Okay, so this has some good information on it. The county superintendent then sends the information to the Office of Public Instruction no later than September 15th. Okay. So with that said, here on this front page, this is when we ask for, in that step 3, your software. Okay. Here's Black Mountain software. It asks about if you employ a certified special ed director. Okay. And then here's the facilities inventory, that step 14, that facility condition inventory report. And it says, I certify that the FCI certification has not been completed. And that would be like for this year. If I would have checked and said that I did do it this year, I would have had to put that date in there, and that would have showed up on your cover sheet. Okay. I guess that's all. And once you do, so make sure you go and look at this before you try to submit it. You want to make sure these names are right, because you're going to have to get your board chairman to sign off on this, and then the county superintendent will be signing off on it, and you also will be signing off on it, saying that the information herein is correct. So sorry about that, Lacey. I hope I didn't screw anything up for you before I left. This submit ID number, once you submit it, it will give you an ID number. If there's any changes made to this trustee's financial summary, once you submit, if you have to resubmit again, this ID number will change up here. So just a little FYI on that one. Okay. All right. So I'm going to get out of there. That's your cover page. And so when you do go to print your TFS, when you think you're all done, all these will default in there, and you'll want to originally print the current report, but then once you've submitted it and get your submit ID number on there, if you want to keep copies for your auditor, for your own records, you want to make sure and hit the report is submitted. And then that way you'll get that submit ID number on there to refer to if you were ever to have questions or need to call OPI. I guess you have to, somebody needs to know that number at some point. Okay. So if you think you're all done and you're ready, we'll go down to this step 16. Do you see that? Submit the TFS to OPI. Okay, just so you know, you don't want to submit to your TFS to the OPI. Only the special education cooperatives can submit the TFS report here to the OPI, because the special ed cooperatives do not submit budgets to the OPI. Okay. Mayfairs requires the districts with budget submissions to submit the TFS and the budget report together. Okay, so once you get this TFS done, your validations are gone. Then you can move on over to your budget. The information from your TFS will roll over into your budget data then. Okay, so once you get done with the TFS, your validations are good, you're cleaned up, then you can go on to your budget and start inputting your budget information, and you'll see numbers already in there, and those will come over from this TFS, and then there will also be pre-filled numbers in there from your preliminary data sheets. Okay. But before you submit your TFS and budget, when they're completed, and you need to have your budget approved by your board of trustees, and then it goes to the county superintendent and the county commissioners. they will also, your county commissioners will also have to, how come I didn't see a county commissioner on there? Will have to approve, oh, sorry, that's on your budget side. When the budget's completed and the budget needs to be approved by your board of trustees, the county superintendent and the county commissioner, then it can be submitted after everybody signs off on it. I don't know, Steve, can I get to the budget? Budget page to show budget. Yeah, I don't know where the budget. Let's see if I can get to the cover. So the cover sheet for the budget. I'll just show you what I mean as far as everybody having to sign off on it before you want to submit it. Thinking for a minute. Looks like my chat box might be kind of full. I'm not sure how far.
We've got through them all.
Oh, good. Yay. Paul Taylor's been here answering the chat box. So that's
So is Nicole has been.
oh, and Nicole has been too. Oh, that's great. So here then is your budget cover sheet. Okay. And this list, again, you'll need your submit ID. This actually, you know, you'll need your taxable valuation. Here's your clerk, which is you, chairperson, your superintendent, and then your county commissioner. All these signatures will need to be on this cover sheet. All right. When it gets submitted to the OPI. Okay. All right. I'm just doing TFS. I'm not comfortable with the budget quite yet. So I guess I'll ask Steve or who's out there if he has any questions. I don't want to open it up to everybody, but if right now, if you have questions you want to put it in the chat box, you sure can. Maybe then I can try to answer them for you. I'm just kind of messing around in here now. Steve, do you?
I think you've done a great job today. A lot of you folks out there are going to have real specific questions specific to your district. They might apply to others, but it looks like the chats have slowed down. But no, I think you did a really good job of covering the trustees' financial summary and how to enter data. So just everybody just go enter all your data, and before you look at that validation report.
Yeah, no kidding. That's daunting.
But it was good that you showed them what that looked like. That was fantastic. And I'll say this about those black warnings. There are some issues in some of those black warnings that can lead to a lot bigger issues later on if you don't take care of them. It may not happen this year, but it may happen next year. So especially if they deal with balance sheets. So clear everything up and you should be good to go.
Okay. All right. Well, that took less time than I thought, so I'm happy for that. But if anyone has specific questions to the school, your school, if you're having trouble with your uploads, don't spend hours and hours trying to figure it out. Just, you know, call us here at OPI and we'll be more than happy to help you guys out. So whatever you need, no questions too. They might be too big, but they're not too small. So don't hesitate to contact the OPI if you need help on any of this stuff. All right, so are we good? All right, well, thank you everybody for logging in today and watching this. I hope I was helpful to you. Just let me know if you have specific questions. So I'm going to log off here now. Have a good rest of your day. Have a good week. Have a good month. Just take lots of deep breaths and you'll get through it. Don't forget, you know, contact OPI or contact a mentor. If you have a mentor out there, someone else that has the same software as you, they're always a good place to start, you know, especially on your uploads. If you know they have the same software as you do, they're usually good help for you too. If they're, you know, look at your veteran clerks that are out there that have done this several times. When you only do it once a year, it's tough. So, so good luck and don't hesitate to call. All right. Thanks a lot, everybody, for being here.